I believe the stock went down 26% today, obviously a quarter of the value. I think market cap wise, it's somewhere north of $230 billion in market cap for Meta. By comparison, Twitter, another company that we all are very familiar with, I think the market cap of Twitter is something like $30 billion, maybe a little less, right? So we're talking multiples of other major companies in terms of value that was lost today. And so obviously that's created some really, dramatic news in the U.S. stock market and in the tech industry.
Sure. So what's prompted these massive falls?
Well, there were two reasons. The first was, as you pointed out, the user base for Facebook is perhaps plateaued, right? For the first time in Facebook's history, they said their daily active user number did not increase from the third quarter to the fourth quarter. In fact, it went down very, very slightly. But for a company like Facebook that has just been growing for consistently for more than a decade, the idea that maybe they finally plateaued on their user base is certainly a concern for investors. And then the second part is, there's been a lot of changes to privacy on Apple products, on iPhones, and that makes it harder for Facebook to gather data that it uses to target people with ads. And so the company said their ad business is going to take a $10 billion hit in 2022 because of these Apple privacy changes. And obviously, again, investors weren't very happy to hear about that.
So, Kurt, what's behind this plateau in user numbers? Are people just being attracted to other platforms, or are people just being turned off Facebook, perhaps by some of the controversies that the social media giant has been grappling with of late?
I think it's two things. One, I do think they're facing a lot more competition. CEO Mark Zuckerberg on an earnings call yesterday brought up TikTok a lot, more so than I've ever heard him talk about a competitor. And, just pointed out that young people in particular are finding other places to spend their time other than Facebook. And that's something they have to address. And I think the second part is saturation, right? I mean, Facebook, all of its apps combined, what they call their family of apps, I believe they have more than 3.5 billion users around the world. Well, eventually, you just kind of run out of people to keep adding. It's not really realistic for them to continue to grow at the same pace, given how big they already are. So I imagine a combination of increased competition and saturation in a bunch of their key markets finally caught up to them as a dual problem there.
So does this mark a turning point for Meta and for Facebook? Is this the end of the line, or do you suspect Mark Zuckerberg has a plan to rejuvenate his company?
Well, Zuckerberg certainly has a plan. You've probably heard him talk about the metaverse, which is this, futuristic version of the internet. That is really where he is trying to direct people's attention to say, hey, look, that's where this is headed. That's where we're building. We will see you there, right? Now, I think this is a massive moment for Facebook because we've never seen them really struggle business-wise. They've had a lot of controversies, as you know, over the years, but it's never really hurt their business. So the fact that they're finally kind of stumbling here for the first time is notable. But, it's been a decade plus of very successful moves by Zuckerberg and the company. So we'll have to wait and see if this becomes a trend.